it take to get men excited about buying a new overcoat? Menswear designers have updated the classic overcoat in a variety of styles, from mild to wild. But will men buy it? WSJ style reporter Ray Smith joins us to discuss. Hi, Ray. Great to see you.
Great to see you, too.
So do you think it's hard for men to shop for overcoats?
It is. It's a purchase that they really don't feel like is necessary. They think it's going to bog them down because it's probably going to be a heavy coat.
Right.
It's expensive. It's an investment. And some of them, they look rather boring. They're kind of traditional, so they think of maybe their grandfather, and they want something younger. You'll see a lot of guys sort of just wear like a fleece jacket over their suit.
That's right. As workwear gets a little more casual, it's hard to sort of justify the expense for a very formal overcoat. Let's go through, though, some of the offerings, because menswear designers are still coming out with some beautiful, beautiful coats this season.
Yes.
If we start with the more traditional ones, who do you like?
Sure. There are a couple from Brunello Cucinelli is one label that Bergdorf Goodman specifically highlighted because it's sort of a check pattern that men can recognize and is familiar to them, but it's a little oversized.
Right. Oh, okay. So there's that little detail.
That little detail,
okay.
And it's also a traditional color. It's like a charcoal almost. So it's like tonal, and the check is kind of tonal, so it's not too loud.
And what about Brioni, known for such traditional, sort of beautiful cuts? Do they have some lovely coats this season?
Brioni has some alternative coats for men that sort of play to this trend, and what they do there is a little bit graphic, and it's a little subtle, but it's a little unexpected. You're getting a cobalt color in a way, and, and you're getting these graphics that are sort of abstract.
They look beautiful. Now, what if you really do want a coat that has a little twist?
If you do want one, I think you need to think about sort of where you're wearing it and what you're wearing it with, and you also want to maybe take one sort of twist at a time. Like a coat can have maybe two or more twists.
Right.
And so if you're a more conservative leaning guy and you just want something like subtle, subtly different, just go with one twist.
Dries Van Noten has some lovely coats this season that seem to have just a little twist, right?
Yes, there were some that just had a little, and then there were some that had a lot.
Right.
But I think what you want to keep in mind is that you want something. I think most conservative men still want something that looks familiar.
Yes, yes.
But just with a little twist. So I think it's just a matter of looking for something that's just a subtle. It's a trench coat, but it's like a little different.
Right, and of course, it can get as wild as you want it to get, right, Ray? I mean, there are some designers who are really playing with proportion and color and graphic this season, right?
Yes. Valentino is one example where they had some really, they were really going there in terms of the graphic, and I don't know how many men how many conservative men will go that route for their business wear, but it is one of the points that these designers were making about these coats was that they're not just overcoats you wear with a suit. I mean, they recognize that times have changed.
Yes.
So they sometimes showed these coats over jeans and sweaters as well as suits. So that's another,
That's very interesting. And so if you were to pinpoint sort of a couple of different trends, would you say playing with proportion, that seems to be a big one?
Oversized. Like slightly oversized to very oversized, because we've been in slim fit so long. So that's definitely a big trend.
I think a lot of men will embrace that change. Yes. And graphics, you see a lot of patterns?
Yes. We talked about the checks before, but also the Valentino had like a camouflage overcoat.
Ooh, nice.
And there were some other examples of just big, bold graphics. Louis Vuitton had some graphic situations going on, and some of them were just, again, either exploded checks, but some of them were just like abstract or prints or even like jungle prints.
And color was a big one, right?
Color is interesting. Color was a big one, and I noticed a lot of like green, like forest green, and in some cases I noticed hot pink, and that would be for the more daring customer, I guess.
Yes,
and we saw those at Saint Laurent, and I think a D Squared had an example. So color is another thing that I think if you're a conservative guy, I don't think you want to go hot pink, maybe.
Right. But there's some interesting, like Tim Coppens, I thought, had such an interesting sort of switch on the scarf. You can basically unzip it, right?
Yes, he two things he did. You're absolutely right. It's a detachable sort of zip-off scarf, and it's black, but it's also attached to what looks like a traditional camel coat, camel overcoat. But so that's the twist.
Right. Yeah. So you get a little bit of both, right? Yes, exactly. You can go either way you want.
Yes.
Ray Smith, thank you so much for that.